What if I told you that everything you've been blaming on age, your lack of energy, your fading erections, your quiet mornings, isn't really about age at all? Let me say it clearly. You're not weak. You're depleted. And that single shift in understanding might be the most important thing you'll ever hear. My name is Dr. Mark Hyman, MD. I've spent over 30 years in functional medicine, helping thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim strength, vitality, and confidence without drugs, gimmicks, or shame. I've served as a physician at the Cleveland Clinic, authored multiple bestsellers, and seen firsthand how the body wants to heal if we just give it what it needs. And what it needs, more often than not, is far simpler than what we've been told. I remember sitting with Alan, a retired Air Force pilot from Kansas, 68 years old, still tall, still sharp, but tired in a way that went deeper than sleep. "Doc," he said, "I just don't feel like myself anymore." His labs, fairly average, blood pressure up a little, testosterone on the low end, but nothing that would scream danger. And yet, his body was screaming for something. Not more medicine, not more tests, but minerals basic, foundational nutrients his body once had in abundance. Now lost after years of processed food, stress, dehydration, and low-quality salt. Here's what most men don't know: your muscles, your blood flow, your testosterone all rely on minerals like magnesium, zinc, potassium, and selenium. These aren't optional. They're essential. And by the time you hit 60, chances are you're running on empty. It's like trying to drive a powerful engine on fumes. The spark fades, the performance lags, but the machine is still intact. That's why I tell my patients, you're not broken. You're underfueled. So today, I'm going to show you how a simple morning ritual, one pinch of the right salt and water, can begin to refill that tank. And when that happens, what once felt like decline, it starts to feel like momentum again. Alan wasn't convinced at first. "Salt?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "Haven't doctors been telling us to cut back on salt for decades?" And he's not wrong. For years, men like Alan were told that salt was the enemy. But no one ever clarified that not all salt is created equal. Here's the truth. I shared with him. It's not about avoiding salt altogether. It's about using the right kind of salt. Most men are using ultra-processed, bleached table salt, the kind you find in shakers at diners and in bulk on grocery shelves. It's stripped of nearly all its natural minerals and loaded with anti-caking agents and additives. That kind of salt doesn't nourish your body. It depletes it even more. But mineral-rich salt, that's different. Unrefined salts, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt, contain over 80 trace minerals. These include magnesium, potassium, calcium, zinc, and selenium, all crucial for circulation, nerve signaling, hormone production, and yes, erections. I remember telling Alan, think of your body like an electrical system. Without those trace minerals, your signals dim. Blood flow weakens. Testosterone stumbles. But when you reintroduce those minerals, it's like flipping the breaker back on. We started simple. Each morning, before coffee or breakfast, he stirred 1/4 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt into 8 ounces of warm filtered water and drank it on an empty stomach. No pills, no prescriptions, just the right minerals, in the right way. A week later, he called me. "Doc," he said, "I woke up this morning and something felt different. Like my body wasn't dragging me around anymore. It was ready to go." That's not magic. That's biology. These minerals don't just sit in your system. They go to work. They relax your blood vessels, enhance electrical activity in your nerves, balance fluid levels, and bring your hormonal system back online. You're not just seasoning your food with this salt. You're fueling your manhood. And what came next for Alan, and for many of my patients, was more than improved energy. It was a very real, very personal kind of return. One that starts with blood flow and leads to a morning surprise many thought was gone forever. I'll never forget the morning Alan came back to my office, standing just a little taller, a quiet grin on his face. He didn't say much at first. He just looked at me and said, "Doc, it's back." Now, if you're a man over 60, you know exactly what he meant without having to ask. That early morning signal, that natural rise, that quiet but powerful reminder you're still alive. Erections, especially morning ones, aren't just about intimacy. They're about circulation. Blood is the life force of the male body, and nowhere is that more evident than in your ability to rise in the morning. But over time, that flow slows down. Not all at once. Gradually. So gradually that most men don't even notice until it's been weeks, months, years. What's the cause? It's not age. It's inflammation. It's mineral depletion. It's blood vessels that have become stiff, dry, and starved of the nutrients they need to stay elastic. I had another patient, George from Oregon, 73, who put it this way: "Doc, I still want to, but my body just isn't listening anymore." And I told him what I tell every man. Dizzer isn't the problem. Blocked blood flow is. The good news, it's fixable. When you start your morning with warm water and mineral-rich salt, something incredible happens. Those forgotten blood vessels, the ones in your pelvis, your lower abdomen, your manhood, begin to reopen. Magnesium in the salt helps dilate those vessels. Potassium helps balance the fluids that deliver oxygen-rich blood where it's needed most. Alan told me he didn't just feel a change in the bedroom. He felt it in the way he walked, the way he stood, even the way he looked at his wife. "It's not just about sex," he said. "It's about feeling like a man again." That's the truth most doctors won't say out loud. Blood flow is confidence. Blood flow is presence. Blood flow is life. And once it returns, everything changes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Restoring blood flow is only the beginning. Because that morning ritual, it doesn't just wake up your circulation. It resets your entire hormonal rhythm. There's a quiet message your body sends every morning if you're listening. It's not a loud alarm or a dramatic event. It's subtle, biological, and deeply meaningful: a morning erection. For men over 60, that signal often fades. Not because the desire is gone, but because the body's internal clock, your hormonal rhythm, has slipped out of sync. It's like a watch running just a few seconds behind each day, until eventually it's no longer telling you the right time. When I sat down with David, 70, a former jazz musician from New Orleans, he told me something I've heard from so many others. I didn't notice it going away. It just stopped showing up. Morning erections are one of the clearest signs that your body is producing testosterone at healthy levels. They indicate circulation, hormone flow, and neural response are all working as they should. And when they disappear, it's more than a physical loss. It's emotional. It makes you question if that part of your life is over. But it doesn't have to be. When you start your day by drinking warm water with a 1/4 teaspoon of unrefined mineral salt, you're not just hydrating. You're sending a biological signal that it's time for your body to wake up, reset, and engage. After a full night of fasting, your body is ready to absorb minerals deeply and efficiently. Magnesium, zinc, and selenium. Key minerals found in this salt are critical to kickstarting testosterone production. They're the spark plugs in the hormonal engine. When you restore those, testosterone doesn't just increase, it starts showing up at the right time, like during REM sleep or those first early morning hours. After 2 weeks of consistency, David called me, "Mark," he said, "I feel like I've come back into focus." It wasn't just the erections, it was the sense of being in rhythm again, of waking up with energy, clarity, and a quiet sense of pride. You see, this isn't about forcing your body, it's about reminding it. And that's the beauty of this morning ritual. It aligns you with your natural biology. No synthetic hormones. No invasive treatments. Just your body, returning to the way it was designed to function. But what's even more powerful is what happens next, because the moment you reset your hormones, your brain and your body start talking again. I can still feel the desire, Frank told me, but it's like my body forgot how to respond. He was 66, a retired architect from Milwaukee, sharp as ever, creative, emotionally connected to his wife, but physically. Something had gone quiet. It's like the signal gets lost somewhere between my head and my body, he said. And I knew exactly what he meant. See, most men assume sexual function is just about hormones and blood flow. But there's another layer that's just as crucial, the neurological connection between the brain and the pelvis. Desire starts in the mind. But for that thought, that impulse, that spark to turn into action, it has to travel through a vast and delicate system of nerves. And guess what those nerves rely on to function properly? Minerals. Magnesium and potassium, in particular, are the electrical conductors of your body. Without them, signals slow. The pathways that once fired with ease now misfire, hesitate, or fail to engage altogether. That's not a loss of desire, that's a loss of connection. Frank had been using mineral salt in his morning water for 2 weeks. And while his energy was better, he still felt numb, as he put it. So we added one more layer of awareness. Each morning, as he drank, I asked him to sit quietly for a few minutes. No phone, no noise, just presence and breathing. 2 weeks later, I got a message from him. I don't know how to explain it, he said, but I feel plugged in again. That's the power of restoring electrical clarity. The mineral salt didn't just support testosterone, it helped clear the static from his system. Nerve signals began to fire cleanly, sensation returned, and most importantly, his sense of wholeness came back. Sexual performance isn't just about function. It's about presence. And presence only comes when your brain and body are in sync. When that link is restored, everything becomes easier, not just intimacy, but confidence, connection, and calm. And speaking of calm, there's a silent force that's been blocking your performance all along. It's not lack of testosterone. It's stress. And the next part of our story reveals how salt, of all things, can help take that weight off your shoulders. I remember Carl, a 72-year-old former high school coach from Ohio, walked into my office looking completely drained. His shoulders slumped, voice hoarse, eyes tired. "Doc," he sighed, "I feel like I've been carrying the world on my back, and I'm too tired to feel anything, let alone act on it." Carl wasn't just exhausted. He was running on empty, and not because of age. He was battling a silent, invisible force, cortisol. Most men don't realize that cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, is one of the biggest erection killers out there. Elevated cortisol constricts your blood vessels. It throws your nervous system into fight or flight mode. It suppresses testosterone. And when it stays high for days, months, or even years, your body starts to shut down basic functions just to conserve energy. And yes, that includes your sex drive. Carl wasn't depressed. He wasn't sick. He was burned out hormonally, emotionally, physically. Like so many men his age, he had spent decades pushing through, providing, solving problems, never resting. And now, it was catching up. But what he didn't know was that his mineral levels were dangerously low too. Why does that matter? Because stress eats minerals, every spike in cortisol burns through magnesium, potassium, and other trace elements that regulate your energy, hydration, and hormone balance. And without those minerals, your body stays stuck in survival mode. That's where mineral salt becomes your ally. I had Carl start with a pinch of unrefined mineral salt in warm water each morning. Simple. Nothing fancy. Within a few days, he called and said, "I'm not as edgy anymore. I actually feel like myself again. What happened? His body started to replenish. The magnesium calmed his nervous system. The potassium helped balance fluids and pressure. And his cortisol dropped. His testosterone was finally free to rise again. He wasn't performing through effort. He was restoring through nourishment. Stress isn't just in your head. It's in your chemistry. And when you stop pushing through and start listening to what your body's asking for, something shifts not just in how you feel, but in how you show up in life. For Carl, that meant waking up with energy, talking to his wife again, smiling more, and yes, waking up with morning erections again, without even trying. And here's the beautiful part. As cortisol drops, testosterone rises, and that, my friend, is exactly what we're going to unlock in the next part of the story. Let me introduce you to Richard, a retired firefighter from Austin, Texas. He was 68, still broad-shouldered, but visibly dimmed. "Doc," he said, "it's like the fire's gone out. I still love my wife. I still want to feel like a man. But the drive, it's just not there." When we ran his blood work, the results were familiar. His testosterone was low, but even more revealing, his zinc, magnesium, and selenium, the very minerals that support testosterone, were nearly depleted. Here's something most men don't know. Your body wants to make testosterone. It's designed to, but it can't create something from nothing. Testosterone production isn't about magic injections or risky hormone replacement. It starts with giving your body the building blocks it needs. And those are found in, you guessed it, unrefined, mineral-rich salt. Let's break it down. Zinc is essential for testosterone production. It's highly concentrated in the prostate and testes. Without it, your body's hormone engine simply won't start. Magnesium boosts free testosterone, the form your body actually uses. Selenium powers the enzymes that protect and activate testosterone. When you add a 1/4 teaspoon of unrefined salt to warm water every morning, you're not just hydrating, you're fueling your hormonal system. You're helping your body reboot its natural rhythm. Richard was skeptical, but he committed. Just a small glass each morning, on an empty stomach. By week 3, his mood had lifted. His sense of humor returned. And one afternoon, he walked in with a quiet confidence and said, "My wife noticed before I did. I feel lighter, sharper, more like myself again." His next blood test showed that 2 testosterone was slowly climbing naturally. No prescriptions, no needles, just biology. See, we're not meant to lose our masculinity with age. We're meant to adapt, to replenish, and to support our body's natural design. And when testosterone rises, everything changes. Energy, confidence, presence, intimacy. But there's one more hidden factor that can quietly sabotage it all. Something most men overlook entirely, even when they're doing everything else right. It's silent, it's sneaky, and it might be the missing piece that's holding you back. Let's talk about it next. Antermusasams. Let me tell you about Glenn, a 72-year-old retired Navy mechanic from Charleston. Sharp mind, steady hands, but his body was failing him in ways he couldn't explain. "I drink water all day, Doc," he said, "but I still feel dry, tired, and nothing's working like it used to." That's when I explained the truth most men never hear. You can drink water all day long, but if your body can't absorb it, you're still dehydrated. See, hydration doesn't happen in your mouth or your stomach. It happens at the cellular level. And for that to work, your body needs minerals, especially the kind found in unrefined salt. Plain water without minerals. It just runs right through you. Even worse, the refined white salt most men use doesn't help it. It actually flushes minerals out. But when you dissolve a pinch of mineral-rich salt, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt in warm water first thing in the morning, you do something incredible. You enable your cells to absorb and hold on to water, restoring hydration where it matters most. Glenn followed the plan, just a quarter teaspoon each morning. By day 5, he said something had shifted. His energy no longer sagged by noon. And after 2 weeks, I woke up hard. "Doc, 3 mornings in a row," he said with a quiet grin. That wasn't magic. That was physiology. Hydrated cells mean elastic tissues, stable blood pressure, healthier arteries, improved circulation. And when that circulation flows freely, especially down there, everything changes. Erections aren't just about desire. They're about fluid dynamics. They rely on blood volume, vascular flexibility, and yes, proper hydration. This is especially true for older men. Over time, your body becomes less efficient at holding water. Dehydration creeps in slowly, not in dry lips or thirst, but in fatigue, foggy thinking, and weaker erections. Reversing that doesn't require fancy supplements or drugs. It starts with a glass of warm water and a little bit of the right salt. You may be flushing your vitality away every morning and not even know it. But there's one more nighttime mistake most men over 60 are making. Even if you're hydrated and fueled up, this one bad habit could be draining your testosterone while you sleep. Let's uncover it next. Let me introduce you to Harold. He's a 69-year-old retired math teacher from Des Moines, Iowa. Still sharp with numbers, still loves crossword puzzles, but when it comes to sleep, it's like I forgot how. He told me, tossing, turning, waking up 3 or 4 times a night. And by morning, I'm already tired. What Harold didn't realize, and what most men over 60 never hear, is that poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It wrecks your testosterone. That's right. Your body produces most of its testosterone while you sleep, especially during deep sleep and REM cycles. That's the time your body resets, recharges, and builds hormones that fuel everything from your mood to your erections. So when sleep is shallow, disrupted, or incomplete, your testosterone suffers. And when testosterone falls, your drive, energy, and bedroom performance go with it. Harold had tried everything. Melatonin, white noise, even warm milk, like his grandmother used to make. Nothing worked. Until we added one small ritual, a pinch of mineral-rich salt dissolved in warm water, sipped slowly, about 90 minutes before bed. He raised an eyebrow. Salt before sleep. Yes, because the magnesium and trace minerals in unrefined salt do something remarkable. They calm your nervous system. They reduce cortisol spikes, your stress hormone that messes up sleep, and they help your brain ease into deeper, more restorative rest. Within a week, Harold was falling asleep faster. Within 2 weeks, he stopped waking up at 3 a.m. in a panic. And by the 3rd week, he grinned and said, "Doc, I woke up with a surprise. A good one." That's the power of quality sleep. When you give your body the tools to rest well, it rebuilds you from the inside out. Energy returns, mood lifts, hormones rebalance. And yes, erections come back. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, grinding, pushing through exhaustion. But real strength comes from restoration. Especially after 60, sleep isn't a luxury, it's your hormonal repair zone. And if you're not sleeping well, no amount of supplements, workouts, or testosterone patches will fix the root issue. The fix doesn't have to be complicated. Just a pinch of mineral-rich salt, a glass of warm water, and a bedtime that respects your biology. But now, let's go even deeper. Because what if I told you there's another way to deliver these minerals? One that doesn't even require drinking them. Your skin might just be the secret. Daniel was 73 when he walked into my clinic with that look, a quiet frustration. "Doc, I'm doing everything you said. He sighed. I drink the mineral salt water every morning. I eat cleaner. I stretch. And I feel better. I really do. But I'm wondering, is there anything I can do to speed this up? I feel like I'm waking up. But slowly, I leaned in and smiled. Daniel, have you ever thought about feeding your body through your skin? He laughed. What do you mean? Like some kind of lotion? Not quite. I explained to him something most people, even health professionals, overlook. Your skin isn't just a barrier. It's a gateway. When you soak in a warm bath with unrefined, mineral-rich salt, about half a cup, in a standard American bathtub, your skin begins to absorb those minerals directly into your bloodstream. No digestion, no waiting on your gut to do the work. Just straight delivery to where your body needs it most. Magnesium, potassium, selenium. They pass through the skin, support circulation, ease muscle tension, calm nerves, and enhance hormonal balance. It's like giving your entire system a mineral reset through warm water. But here's where it gets even more interesting for older men. These mineral baths relax the soft tissues around the pelvis and groin, areas that often become tight and undercirculated with age. That kind of tension can quietly choke off blood flow, dull sensitivity, and weaken your erections. So I told Daniel, try 2 20-minute soaks a week, just before bed. And what happened? He returned 3 weeks later with a new energy in his step. It's not just about the bedroom anymore. He said, I feel connected again, more like me. That's what happens when your body fully absorbs what it's been missing for decades. It doesn't just perform better. It remembers who you are, the man you used to be, and still can be. And this isn't some spa treatment luxury. This is practical, affordable, at-home therapy straight from your faucet and your salt jar. You just need warm water, a handful of the right salt, and 20 minutes to let your body soak in healing minerals that restore, rebalance, and revive. Now, if you followed this journey through all 10 parts, you've seen how one small act each morning, and even a relaxing soak at night, can transform a man's vitality. But before we wrap up, let me tie everything together in one final message. A reminder that your best years aren't behind you. They begin right now. If there's one message I hope has resonated with you throughout this entire story, it's this: your body is not broken. I've spent over 3 decades sitting across from men who believed their best days were behind them. And I get it when energy dips, when intimacy fades. When you wake up feeling like a stranger in your own body, it's easy to think, maybe this is just how aging works. But that's not the truth. The truth is, most of what we call aging is simply a depletion, a quiet erosion of the very minerals and rhythms that once powered your strength, your clarity, your vitality. And all of it can begin to return with 1 glass of warm water and a pinch of unrefined salt. You've now seen how the right kind of salt, rich in magnesium, potassium, zinc, and selenium, can rekindle blood flow, restore testosterone, calm your nervous system, improve sleep, lower cortisol, reactivate the brain-body connection, and reignite the spark you thought was gone forever. And it's not just theory. These aren't abstract ideas pulled from some textbook. They're grounded in real stories from real men who made one small change and experienced transformation. Men like Jim, who went from frustration to feeling fully alive again. Like Richard, who reclaimed his drive and his masculinity. Like Daniel, who didn't just improve, he reconnected with himself. And all of them started with the same ritual: 1 glass of warm water, 1/4 teaspoon for unrefined mineral salt every morning. That's it. No expensive medications, no risky procedures, no waiting on someone else to fix them. Just a commitment to support their body naturally. So now, I want to speak directly to you, not as a doctor, but as someone who deeply believes in the strength inside you. It is never too late. Not to feel good again. Not to be a man again. Not to wake up with energy, clarity, and pride. You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. You just need to begin. Start tomorrow with one decision, with one act of self-respect. Let that morning glass be your signal to your body and to the world that you are not done yet. Because your best years, they're not behind you. They're just beginning. As I sit here, reflecting on the thousands of men I've worked with, one thought keeps echoing in my mind. Healing doesn't always come in the form of something complicated. Sometimes, it's found in the simplest of things, like a glass of water, a pinch of salt, and a quiet moment of self-care at the start of your day. I've seen men walk into my clinic feeling defeated, exhausted from trying everything, ashamed of what they thought they'd lost forever. But as soon as they began to nourish their bodies, gently and consistently, their spark came back, not overnight, not with fireworks, but like the sun rising again after a long night. That's what I want for you, not just stronger erections or balanced hormones. I want you to wake up feeling alive, with purpose in your step, and pride in the man you are no matter your age. Because aging isn't a curse, it's a transition. And transitions can be powerful if we meet them with knowledge and compassion. So tomorrow morning, when you hold that glass of warm water in your hands, I want you to remember this isn't just about health. It's a symbol, a small, daily reminder that you're still in charge. You still get to choose how you live, how you age, how you love. And if that ritual brings even a little more peace, energy, and connection to your life, then that's everything. Take care of yourself. You're worth it. And I'll be here, rooting for you every step of the way.